Which of these borderline players should you start or sit in Week 6 of the NFL season? Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers QB. Latest NFL stories at Kansas City. Roethlisberger is coming off a brutal game at home against the Jaguars. He threw a career-high 5 interceptions, including 2 pick-sixes, and didn't have a single touchdown, despite completing 33 of 55 pass attempts for 312 yards. There's been much speculation that this could be Big Ben's last season, and his "maybe I don't have it anymore" remarks after the game aren't encouraging. He later went on to say that he isn't doubting his game, and fantasy owners shouldn't just yet either. That said, the Chiefs have been the best team in football through 5 weeks, largely because of their defense. Roethlisberger isn't the top 10 option he typically is this week, versus New England. Despite the odds heading into the season, the 32 Jets will take on the 32 Patriots Sunday in a battle for sole possession of first place in the AFC East. The Bills, also 32, are on a bye. McCown hasn't done anything particularly spectacular to lead the Jets here, but he's averaged a respectable 12.46 fantasy points per game. The Patriots' defense has been shaky this season. The unit ranks last in the league in total defense and 31st in points allowed per game, 28.4. The Pats also have given up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks this season, 25 per game, making McCown a decent streaming option. Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints RB versus Detroit. Kamara had already usurped Adrian Peterson as the Saints' number 2 option behind Mark Ingram, but now that they've dealt Peterson to the Cardinals, there's no contest. In typical Saints fashion, they've already used Kamara a great deal in the passing game. The rookie is second on the team in both receptions 20 and passing yards 147, and though he has just 15 rushing attempts, Kamara has averaged 5.5 yards per carry. Kamara mostly went undrafted, but he's become a must-own across the board, especially in PPR leagues. He's a strong RB2 this week against a Lions defense that placed veteran defensive tackle Haloti Ngata on injured reserve Wednesday with an elbow injury. Adrian Peterson, Arizona Cardinals RB versus Tampa Bay. On the Cardinals' official depth chart, Peterson is listed as the number 1 running back after being traded from New Orleans on Tuesday. Peterson didn't do much in 4 games with the Saints. He rushed for just 81 yards on 27 carries. The Cardinals have been searching for someone to carry the load with star running back David Johnson on injured reserve. Peterson should get more of an opportunity with the Cardinals, but the trade hasn't boosted his value beyond a flex option yet. The Bucs' defense is 8th against the run, and Peterson will have less than a week with a new playbook. Aaron Jones, Green Bay Packers RB at Minnesota. Jones shredded the Cowboys' defense last week, rushing for 125 yards and a touchdown on 19 carries in just his second NFL appearance. But with Ty Montgomery, who was a full participant in practice Wednesday, expected to return, Jones' role likely will be reduced. The Vikings have allowed the second fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs, 12.8 per game, so he's better off on the bench this week. Terrell Pryor Sr., Washington Redskins WR versus San Francisco. Pryor was expected to step in as the Redskins' top receiver this season after a breakout year in Cleveland last season. So far he's second on the team in receiving yards, 186, and catches 13 through 4 games following Washington's bye last week. The subpar numbers are more of a tribute to the Redskins' more balanced attack than a dip in Pryor's productivity. Last season the Redskins had a 6,238 pass-run ratio, while this season it's 5,149 so far. With Washington relying more on their 3-headed rushing attack of Samaje Perine, Chris Thompson and Rob Kelly, Pryor has taken a backseat. But Pryor is trending in the right direction. He had 3 catches for 70 yards and scored his first touchdown of the season in Week 4 against the Chiefs before Washington's bye week. It's also a good matchup against an 0-5 49ers team that's allowed the 8th most fantasy points to opposing receivers. Pryor's a low-end WR2. Amari Cooper, Oakland Raiders WR versus Los Angeles Chargers. Cooper's value this week depends on whether or not Derek Carr returns from his back injury, even though his struggles predate that. Cooper's been a non-factor much of the season, partly because Michael Crabtree has emerged as the top receiver and partly because his drop percentage of 39.4% is last among players with at least 30 targets. With Carr out last week, Cooper was targeted twice and had 1 catch for 8 yards. The fourth-year quarterback was a limited participant in practice Wednesday and Thursday and still is listed as questionable but is expected to play. Cooper's been dealing with a knee injury of his own that also kept him limited at Thursday's practice, which could be another contributing factor to his 3-game stretch of 4 catches for 23 yards. If Carr's ready to go, Cooper's a WR3, but if Carr's out, Cooper's a risky play. Eric Decker, Tennessee Titans WR vs. Indianapolis. Decker hasn't gotten going yet, averaging just 3.2 receptions and 27.6 yards per game through 5 contests, but this could be his chance. Much like Cooper, his value depends on the state of his quarterback. Marcus Mariota, who missed the Titans' Week 5 loss to the Dolphins with a hamstring injury, is listed as questionable. The Monday night game makes it a tough call for fantasy owners, but it also gives Mariota more time to get healthy. The Colts defense has given up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing receivers, but if it's Matt Castle at quarterback for the Titans, don't expect a breakout game from Decker. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, New York Jets vs. New England. Seferian-Jenkins is coming off his best fantasy game of the season. He had 6 catches for 29 yards and a touchdown in the Jets' win over the Browns. Even though Seferian-Jenkins has played in just 3 games, he's 3rd on the team in receptions with 15 and 4th in receiving yards with 106. New England's defense has been dreadful. Josh McCown has allowed the 4th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Seferian-Jenkins seems to be hitting his stride, and with a solid matchup, he's a TE1 this week.